Magnificent who? What makes one magnificent? The child of privilege wishing for a life of leisure, pampered by the same souls they use for status? Or the dishwasher drenched in sweat from steam that carries droplets across scarves of several lifetimes etched into the crevices of their brow? Who do you choose to revere? The writer that excludes populations of people to dark shadows and corners only spoken of as accents to serving dishes? Or the teller of tales whose voice carries the weight of those it honors, breathing life into the fires that calls their audience to attention? Who do we idolize? Peoples whose fortunes were amassed with no question of how and clinging to legacy passed down by name alone? Or the very ones whose backs broke from carrying the load and survived by clinging to remnants of ancestor lost amongst aliases assigned by darkness? There are stories far more exciting than those prized as noble. Stories carried not only by whispers of shadows, but twisted into the language of ragtime turned swing. Stories of prosperity outside the expansion of town turned city, but engraved into the cobblestones too quickly paved over for progress. Stories spoken in tongues mistranslated by those that do not speak the language, not because of miseducation, but due to apathy and the drive for consumption. Magnificent is a term turned pale with complacency. Let's not speak of the magnificent, but uphold the brilliant, honor the grandiose, and thank the splendid. The brilliant aunties with a quick wit and a side eye that could silence a room and humble the hardest of the neighborhood's delinquents. That carried the traditions with delicate hands and patience unmatched. The second mothers that watched all over latchkey children as their parents worked for the spoiled, whose handwritten letters are stored in keepsake boxes tucked away as remembrals of unconditional love given to those not birthed from their bodies. Goddess mothers that, no matter if they were housecoats or kimonos or scratchy red blankets upon their laps, filled every room with the grace of regalness of ages. The very ground we walk upon has been carved out by the feet of so many whose names have been lost, but spirit can be felt in the foundation of all that is. The grandiose teachers that saw potential in tiny treasures that others cast to the side and fueled courage for every voice to sing no matter how much others tried to silence them. The doctors by profession, and even those with medicine cabinets full of tinctures and altars created from the earth around them, both saving lives and healing the very souls that would later fill their shoes. Those with first names that followed Mr. and Mrs., encapsulating the respect brought on by age and wisdom, whose walk filled hallways with the jingle of importance and never forgot the name or birthday of a person that crossed their paths. Their memories are trapped in the walls of buildings long torn down, transformed into the dust forever clinging to what's new in an effort to never be forgotten. The splendid elders that embodied the past hold on the present, carrying the privilege of mistake turned survival and softened by decades gone past, whose hugs can be felt even years after their passing. The pawpaws with lemon drops in their pockets that smelled like the oak trees that they mimicked and became for their families, stoic and grounded. The gramps and grands whose no-nonsense melted away as the music of their youth transported them to the avenue and inspiration fueled brittle bones to dance even if for a brief moment. Grandmothers whose calloused hands caressed the faces of grandchildren they could not see with their eyes but saw fully with their heart, and knew everyone by name, no matter how many there were. Bloodlines pulsating not only through the flesh but felt like the electricity powering streetlights trying to compete with the stars. Beneath every building is a history carved out from stories untold. Every bend of the road there is a remnant of land that still clings to its tribal name. Magnificence becomes unbound to fortunes, carried into the wind and lost amongst the stories told in languages yet to be discovered. Someday, each of us will become a memory of days gone past. Our own stories braided into the fabric of yesterday, for in the end, it is life itself that's magnificent, no matter who tells the story. And that is what we must revere and honor.